So the other day, we just launched this very cool integration with Amazon Bedrock, which allows you to build Gen AI applications directly with Ampt with just a few lines of code. It is very, very cool. We have a blog post on this that explains it a little bit more, gives you some sample code and so forth. And we also have some docs on this as well. This is in beta right now, so we are still experimenting with this, but we wanted to get this out, start getting some feedback because it's pretty cool. So I want to just take a minute and show you how you can build a Gen AI app with Ampt pretty quickly. So let me jump over to VS Code here. So this is just an empty directory here in my sandbox directory. I'm going to go ahead and run the Ampt command. This is the Ampt CLI. You would need to have this. You would need to have the CLI installed. It's just an npm install, so pretty simple. I'm going to use the demo organization for this, and I'm just going to create a blank starter JavaScript app here, and let's name this Ampt AI. And so this will go ahead and generate a couple of files for us, sync things up for us, connect to a developer sandbox. So this will all give me complete isolation, so I can work independently of other team members and things like that. So this just takes a second to go ahead and sync that originally. So now it connects me to those real-time logs, and now I have this URL. This URL, if I launch this URL here, there will be nothing here, obviously, because there's actually nothing in this app yet. It's just a blank file. But let's go ahead and build something. We can also take a look at the dashboard for this. So this shows me this particular app that I'm running here, this Ampt AI app, and gives me all the controls and stuff that I need. So let's go back let's go back to the documentation here. And let's just start by grabbing the first example. Actually, let's do this first. Let's do the render one first, because this one is kind of cool. So we need to have the Ampt API and Ampt AI modules installed. So we can just come over here and install, oops, spell correctly, install at ampt/API. And then I'll go ahead and install that for us. Again, this is just npm, so it uses whatever package manager you're using, and then I'm going to install the AI one as well. So this will go ahead and install that. And again, you can see from your package.json that we now have these two dependencies installed. Again, just simple JSON, nothing overly complex. So I'm going to copy this code here and just go ahead and paste this in like that. So essentially what I've done here is I've created an API at /render with a get route at /image, takes a prompt and generates an image. Now obviously you could do much more complex stuff here, but as soon as I save this actually went ahead and was synced to my developer sandbox. So I can jump over now to my developer sandbox here, which is this one. And essentially what it's saying is it's render/image, and it wants some sort of a prompt. Obviously you'd want to build a better interface into this, but let's just say, how about dog wearing a baseball hat, standing on the beach, something like that. So I go ahead and submit this. So this is actually contacting our app and sending this request to that model, and just like that we get an image. So literally with just 14 lines of code and good spacing, we're able to implement now an image generator, and of course you can send different things in as the prompt to this render here in terms of sizes and some of those other things. So it's pretty easy to do those sort of things. All right, so the other thing I want to do and show you is sort of the chat interface here. So if we go back to the docs and let's go up to the chat interface. So I'm going to copy this code here. We'll go in and I'll paste this, and we don't need to import that twice. And then let's just go ahead and from the render, or from the AI module, let's also make sure we import the chat interface so that we have that. So we'll go ahead and save it. And so this just created another route that is a post route that is /chat/generate. And this goes ahead and just takes that request and sends it in as messages into this chat. Into this chat model. So again, there's a bunch of different models that you can use. We support a bunch of the ones that AWS has right now. So the Anthropic Claude, the Instance, the regular one, the V2, and then Stable Diffusion for the image generation. So anyways, let's actually call this, right? So we need to, obviously you want to build some sort of front end to this, but we've got this defined now. We can always, by the way, get our URL by just doing that. So let's grab our URL here. And let's actually jump over to Postman so we can create a route here. So we'll create a post. We'll do this. The route is /chat/generate. I think I can make this bigger as well. So /chat/generate like this. And then we want to go ahead and put the body in here. So it's just going to be a raw body. We want this to send JSON here. And the way that the format for this works is chat is looking for a messages array that has an object with a role and content. And so the role can either be human or assistant. So let's go ahead and create a messages array. Oh, we're going to have to, of course, make this JSON, right? So we'll do messages like this, and we'll create an array, and within this array, the responses are weird. Okay, so and within this array, we create another object, and this object needs to have a role. So we call this role here. We'll send this in as human, and then it needs content. And then we need to ask it something. So what are we going to ask it? Why don't we start by just saying something simple. What is the square root of 16? This it should be able to answer, right? So find the send button there. So we've got the messages set up. We are posting to chat/generate. This is on our developer sandbox. So we should be good to go. So I'm going to hit send, and this is going to send that request, and it says the square root of 16 is 4, which is pretty cool. So that it was able to give us that. Okay, so let's go back and let's see if we can actually use this for something useful. So first of all, one thing we have to be careful of is that we do default the number of tokens. The response tokens is relatively small. Because again, Gen AI gets expensive if you use a lot of tokens. You can pass in this max tokens here. So let's just say 5,000 for now, so that so this will respond with more data for what we want to do next. So all right, so what we want to do is we want to generate a front end for this that we can use to submit these prompts. So one thing we can do is create a new folder called static. This is sort of a this is a convention that we use. So when you create a static folder, anything you put in there will automatically be deployed and cached to the CDN, which is pretty cool. We'll create a new file in here called index.html, and if we just say, I'll do h2. Oops, I know this is not proper HTML here, but we'll just say hello from Ampt AI. Save this. Now, as soon as we save this, our main route here, this was our generation route for the image one, but if we just go to this main route and hit enter, this will go ahead and load that hello from Ampt AI. And then what's cool about this is, again, everything syncs instantaneously. So we say 1, 2, 3. We go ahead and refresh over here, and that changes. So this just gives us a way to load static files. Very, very cool stuff. Okay, but we want to do something interesting. So let's go back to this, and rather than asking it, something simple like what's the square root of 16, let's actually see if we can get it to generate a front end for us. So I just created a prompt that says generate an HTML page. It has a text area for a prompt that posts a messages array that contains an object with a role key with a value of human and a content key with the value of the prompt as JSON to the /chat/generate endpoint when clicking a submit button using Ajax and streams response to a div on the page. So that's kind of long. Let's go ahead and run this and see what kind of output this generates for us. So here is Okay, so let's see. It uses jQuery, great. We give a prompt text area, a submit button, a response area. So it's taking it, creating messages there, and then it's posting it and then streaming the response. All right, this is not how I would write this, and I'm assuming most of you would not either, but you know what? It did it for us, and it did it for without even having to think about it. So I don't know, let's try it. So we'll save this. We will jump back over to here, refresh, and we have this beautifully formatted text area. So let's go ahead and bring up the network just so we can see what this does. How about we say write a poem about, oh, got it auto-corrected, about Gen AI, not Gene, Gen AI and serverless, and submit it. And what happens? Is it going to work? So it's doing some stuff in the background here. It's thinking, and here we go. Here's a poem about Gen AI and serverless computing. The future is serverless. Gen AI works its magic unseen. Behind the scenes, its power gleams. All right, it's not formatted very well. So how about we ask it something simple like, what is the square root of 9? And not that we need the question mark, but we submit this and it says the square root of 9 is 3. Okay, so just like that, in just a few minutes, we were able to build a image generator that uses Gen AI and a chatbot, well, sort of a chat interface. I mean, you could do much more with this. There's some cool ways, by the way, that you can pass context and things like that, so that if you are doing more complex interactions where you want to keep the context of the chat, you can do all that as well. So anyways, very, very cool stuff. Very, very easy to do. Literally, you know, just a few lines of code in order to make this work. So we'd love for you to try it out, give us some feedback on it, and let us know what else you'd like to see.